The first 4 hours of a 24-hour sprint are dedicated to pre-production, and here the core methodology is something called writing to resources. This flowchart compares the traditional Hollywood model against the DIY approach. In Hollywood, the script comes first, which dictates the massive budget required to secure the necessary locations, actors, and resources. The micro-budget model inverts that process. If a creator has access to a hotel room, a corkscrew, and a scooter battery, those items funnel directly into the screenplay to reverse engineer a thriller. Because you only write for locations and items you already control, you eliminate company moves and complex lighting setups. You minimize location changes, which mathematically allows you to shoot far more pages of dialogue per single hour. Around hour 5, the writing stops and physical production begins. And when you are racing the sun, inevitable logistical failures hit hard. A car engine starts smoking or a camera battery dies. To survive, you have to maximize whatever daylight you have. That means shooting scenes entirely out of chronological order. You might film the ending of the movie first, simply because the sun is setting and your location happens to have blackout curtains. This visual equation illustrates a technical safety net called a 6-to-1 shooting ratio. It compares the volume of raw footage captured on set against the final runtime used. If the ratio climbs higher than 6-to-1, directors are wasting too much time on endless takes and risk failing the challenge. When proper film gear fails or isn't available, crews turn to guerrilla tactics. If you're shooting a tense nighttime scene in a park without a generator, you improvise a solution. You pull the battery out of a moped, wire it to a cheap bulb, and use that to light your actor. You also have to deal with amateur actors who haven't had weeks to memorize their lines. To protect the film, directors rely on coverage. This means shooting a single scene over and over again from multiple different camera angles. Having all those varied angles gives the editor a safety net. If an actor completely forgets their line or flubs a word, the editor can seamlessly cut to a reaction shot to hide the mistake. When production is compressed into a single day, the luxury of artistic rumination is replaced by the necessity of the finish line. The goal is to walk away with a drive full of functional, editable footage. By hour 17, the shooting wraps, and the post-production endurance test begins. The crew is running on zero sleep, and physical exhaustion starts to impair basic decision-making. To save precious time, teams often employ spot editing instead of waiting for production to finish. Footage is ingested into a laptop and cut concurrently, while the director is still in the next room filming the final scenes. This is where mistakes become permanent. If the editor realizes they need a close-up to make a scene make sense, they have to find a workaround. Reshoots are mathematically impossible. That hard 24-hour limit acts as a psychological forcing function. It requires creators to abandon perfectionism entirely. They can't obsess over minor glitches or a slightly soft focus. They just have to finish. When the clock finally hits zero, the reality of the final product sets in. These are rarely polished, big-budget blockbusters, but they are complete, fully realized stories. Despite lacking millions of dollars and months of planning, these projects successfully utilize true cinematic language. They build genuine suspense, establish the tone, and deliver actual character arcs. There is a paradox in creative work. Infinite time and money often stifle originality. When you have every tool at your disposal, you rely on the tools. But extreme limitation forces you to solve problems with pure creativity. Choosing a strict constraint, like a 24-hour ticking clock, removes the option of waiting for a massive budget or industry approval. It forces a project to completion, transforming a high-concept idea into a finished file that didn't exist 24 hours earlier. A massive timeline block represents the 871 days it takes Hollywood to produce a film, compared to a microscopic one-day block. Factoring in logistics, the 871-day block expands vertically into a bar chart, inflating budgets to hundreds of millions, requiring a crew of thousands. But over the last few years, a parallel digital landscape has emerged. Armed with consumer cameras and editing software, independent creators are bypassing that multi-year pipeline entirely. They are writing, shooting, and editing complete feature-length and short films in a matter of days, sometimes in exactly 24 hours. To hit those extreme deadlines, they accept brutal constraints. We're talking total production budgets of exactly $100, or scripts built around whatever random props happen to be lying around a house. By stripping away the bloat and embracing these extreme temporal limits, creators don't have to pitch executives or wait for a studio greenlight. They acquire their own gear, gather their friends, and make the movie themselves.